Hey, smugglings, what is happening? This is going to be the review for It's a Wonderful Life. This is the Christmas supernatural drama classic that is directed by Frank Capra and starring James Stewart, Donna and Lionel Barrymore. Now, I've never seen this film. This is my first time viewing this film this Christmas, and because it is a Christmas movie, I wanted to do it on this channel. Because the last Christmas film I reviewed was absolutely a shite, which was Red One, and I wanted a palate cleanser for some good Christmas movies to make their way through. And thankfully, this is a very good Christmas movie. This is obviously a classic film that is touted as one of the Christmas greats, and I have to say it is very good. I don't have a large amount of Christmas films that I consider to be films that I love. I do love Home Alone. I love Nightmare Before Christmas. That's another great one. And I think the Harry Potter films are quite festive. They're not Christmas films in and of themselves, but they are very festive, and they usually release around Christmas time when I was younger, and I did love them and still love them very much, but I've covered them on this channel. So I'm going to be covering It's a Wonderful Life. It was released in 1946, and I think there's a bit of an adjustment to be made when you're going back to the 40s, because that is a very different time. That is 1 year after World War II, which is crazy, and it's a long time ago. And films were obviously made very differently back then, and the pacing is very different. But I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and I think that a lot of it is down to the performance of James Stewart, and I am someone who likes James Stewart quite a lot, particularly in his collaborations with Alfred Hitchcock. If you think of films like Rope, Vertigo, Rear Window, those films I all love, and he's a very likable screen presence, and he plays this character called George Bailey, and this character of George Bailey is contemplating suicide on Christmas Eve. And because of that, this causes the intervention of an angel, a second-class angel, that needs to get their wings. And in order for them to get their wings, they need to save a life. And they are attempting to save the life of George Bailey. So they are trying to make George Bailey realize how much value he's put into the world. Because George Bailey is a man that had a lot of plans when he was younger, and they didn't come to fruition, and he feels as though his life has amounted to nothing, despite the fact that he's helped many people and he's made a great difference in their lives. And the angel is going to help him realize that, and that is the premise of the film. And I think something quite unusual about this film is that that is the beginning. The beginning of the film is near the end, and I don't think that was quite common in the 40s, and it's something that's been used quite frequently nowadays, particularly with the likes of Christopher Nolan, who sort of made it quite popular again. And you see it quite often these days, where stories are told in that non-linear fashion. But here, it felt quite unique during this time period. But the story is not very complex, because it is looking at the life of this one man, George Bailey, and his ambitions are always thwarted by some sort of inconvenience, some sort of family event that he is obliged to see to. And that is the tragedy of this film, is that he is unable to fulfill his promise due to his obligations to his family and the family business, which is a bank. And he's sort of bound to this particular place, which is Bedford Falls, and he feels constantly stuck in this place, and he wants to get out, and he sees his brother accomplishing so much, and he's unable to get out of this place because he's chained to it. And James Stewart does that very well. He very much does convey the feelings of this particular character, and you like him naturally because James Stewart is just a very charismatic and likable screen presence, and he does a lot of the heavy lifting here, and I think he's really great in this. And I particularly like the scene, which is a very iconic scene that I've seen in loads of films since this obviously came out, because it's such a famous scene. And even though I haven't seen this film before, the scene is present in loads of other films, which is the scene of George saying that he will lasso the moon for his love interest, Mary. And he's looking up at the moon and he's like, "What do you want, Mary? You want the moon? Give me a lasso, I'll swing it down for you." And then he goes and tries to lasso the moon, and it's very sweet. It's very much a jokey sort of scene where he's not obviously trying to lasso the moon, but it's him trying to reach for something that is far away. And I think that's a good metaphor for him trying to get his ambitions and claim his ambitions and reach that full potential that he feels like he isn't able to do. And the beautiful part of it is that the community really rallies around him, and even as he gets into dire circumstances with the debt of the bank and the lack of funds available to him, the community are there for him, and he realizes at that point near the end that he has touched many different lives for the better, and he's made a great difference in the community, and his life isn't worthless, and he wants to survive because he's seen the great difference he has made on these people's lives. And the angel shows him a world without his presence in it, and you see that it's not a better place at all. In fact, it's a worse place. And that is very beautiful, and it's a really great message that things are not always as bad as they seem. And that's the biggest message of this film, is that nothing is ever as bad as it seems, and it can always get better. You always have the opportunity to choose to live and make better decisions moving forward. You can always rectify your life. It's not over ever, and that's a very powerful message, and very much like this film. Like I said, it's a film from the 40s, and I do like a lot of films from that particular time period, but this one takes a little bit of adjustment because the pacing is obviously very different to modern day sensibilities. I think a film like Rope is easier to get into because that is a thriller, and Alfred Hitchcock sort of created films that were fast-paced, and this is not as fast-paced because it's a Christmas movie, but it's one that is beloved by a lot of people, and I think it's very good, and I'm going to give It's a Wonderful Life an 8 out of 10. Great score for a great film, and I think it's a very good Christmas film, and I think it will be one that I will revisit on Christmases moving forward. So I'm very happy that I watched it this Christmas. So that is my review for It's a Wonderful Life. What did you think of the film Smauglings? I hope you had a very happy Christmas, and I really appreciate you watching Smauglings. You guys take care, and I will see you soon.